Welcome to Drysen Learns Things by Made by Things. I'm Drysen, and today I'm talking with Jaden Miller from Weller Brothers. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So tell me a little bit about who you are and Weller Brothers, the company.
Yep, so I'm the marketing manager at Weller Brothers. I've been here for 2.5 years. I was the first marketing hire, so there was not a department before that. Weller Brothers has been around in the Sioux Falls area for over 20 years now. They are a high-end residential landscape design and build company. We also offer full service, year-round lawn care, maintenance, and tree removal. We also have locations in Rochester, Minnesota, and Des Moines, Iowa. So I do the marketing for all of it.
I did not know you're the first marketing hire. That's really cool.
Yeah, I am.
Well, tell me a little bit about, because the point of the show is to learn about one specific campaign that you've worked on or led that you're super proud of. Talk to me. We want to talk about the data tracking, responsible marketing. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so it was funny because you reached out to me about this and you said, I want to talk about that really fun branded beer campaign you did a couple of years ago. And that was fun. But I said, Drysen, I want to talk about something a little less sexy, but I am more excited about it. So I do just want to touch on that. Like we try and do some fun, more like branding related campaigns. We did a branded beer with Fernson. We've done some other things, like there's a post that just someone just shared on LinkedIn that they're seeing from us, which is really cool. And I could talk about that if we have time at the end. But what I'm really excited about right now, like today, is some huge leaps our team has made in being able to accurately capture our data in terms of like where our leads and our clients are coming from and what tactics are actually contributing to those sales and that lifetime client value. So then I've been able to make more accurate and strategic decisions in allocating our marketing budget and resources.
So how do you start
Yeah, go
something
ahead.
like that? Like from my point of view, like you start by like, okay, we have an embed code here, a UTM tracking thing over here. But how did you start tracking and gathering all the data?
Yeah, I mean that'd be a 25-minute explanation, so I'll try and make it really simple. But essentially, there was nothing in place when I started. So we in our CRM, I can pull all of our clients and our leads, and there was no data as far as where they came from. And we have a pretty old school CRM that we're in right now, and so we have to do a lot of that manually. So a lot of it was just changing behaviors on our team. Everything from our admin team of asking them on the phone how they heard about us. Eventually, we implemented tools like CallRail, which have been instrumental in being able to track those. So it's taken, 2.5 years, and we've made huge progress. I still have places I want to go with it that I've road mapped out, but definitely been able to. It's just we've made strides in it, and
That's
it's
a
been slow,
big
but.
ship to steer. Like that's a lot
Mhm.
of getting things to move. Once you started seeing that traction, what started happening?
Yeah, so I'll just share an example of really from this year, very specific example. So when I started, I didn't have a huge marketing budget because, brand new department. But heading into 2024 here, I had a much larger budget to allocate towards Google search ads, which we weren't doing a lot of because they're expensive. And so, across each of our locations and then divisions and then like types of service offerings within that, I had a lot of different Google search campaigns. And so I was in there multiple times a week, tweaking the keywords. I was seeing just a ton of website traffic from it, conversions, which are for us phone calls or website form submissions. So at a high level, it looked great. It looked like it was working. And then with my admin team, we really dug into the data in our CRM, as well as using the tools with CallRail. And we found that it was like less than 10% of these leads from Google ads were actually becoming clients. And so because we had those data things now in place to be able to track it, I was able to actually see our return on investment over the course of about 6 months. It was different from across our different locations, but in Sioux Falls, it was just under two. So like less than $2 back for every dollar spent. That's very poor. At least we're
Wow.
not, we're breaking even, but
Yeah.
yeah. So with that, at the same time, we were also doing Google local service ads, which is just another type of a Google local search ad. Yeah, I won't get into the differences right now for time, but we were seeing that I was putting a lot less budget there, but our return on investment that we were then able to confidently measure was like 20. or more in some of our locations. And so, this was about 6 months. And then in June, I said, all right, I feel confident about this data. I am reallocating all this budget from the Google search to the local search, and local search is a lot cheaper. So I actually got to pull back a lot of dollars and use them on other things. So I pull these numbers every week, year to date, and our ROI for Sioux Falls has gone from, like I said, just under 2% to just over 20% on the Google side, just changing the type of campaign and being able to measure the data with just having integrity in the data.
I love that. I love that. So that allows you to make informed decisions. Now you've got a bigger budget.
Mm-hmm.
You can do, more initiatives to accomplish your goals, such as we were talking a little bit about some old school branding style things. Let's talk about that, just high level stuff.
Yeah, so that's the fun stuff. And so I think if you want to do the fun stuff, you also have to be able to do the not fun stuff well. And then you have, leftover money to do things like that. So yeah, I'll talk about that. So something that you may have seen on LinkedIn recently that someone in the community shared, which is really cool, was this is more of a branding, a thoughtful tactic we implemented this year, is when we begin a landscape project in a neighborhood, we've got trailers, we've got piles of rocks and dirt out in the road, and sometimes for weeks, depending on the scale of the project. It's an inconvenience to neighbors. So we've started a couple of days before the project starts, sending letters to the neighbors, just a courtesy letter saying, here's what's happening. We're going to do our best to be safe and clean. Contact us if you have any issues. And we include in there just a $10 Starbucks gift card that's co-branded with our logo on it. Does that immediately result in people calling us to hire us for services? No, but it leaves a really good, it's just a very positive touch point, whether that's the first touch point with us or their 50th.
I think there's a lot to be said. We could have an entire episode just on when you can make people feel special, when you make them feel, important and empowered, you're doing a lot of good in the world. A, you're being a good person saying, hey, sorry for the inconvenience. But B, they're going to have that word of mouth. And I guess personally, I believe that there's no better kind of marketing than that word of mouth marketing, because that's not the social proof and everything else behind it. But you can't just engineer that. You can't just say, hey, go tell your friends. So if you can make somebody feel special, empowered in that way, like you are, that's genius, in my opinion.
Well, and I think it's about being just genuine and authentic in your brand. And that's something we strive to be like here, just in our, culture is such a buzzword, but we talk about that all the time, just authenticity in the workplace, but also in the quality of the services we deliver and how we communicate with clients and neighbors and keep the job site clean. And that's just who we're known to be. And that little touch point is just one reflection of that.
Absolutely. And it shows. I mean, that's why I reached out to you to say, hey, do you want to be on Drysen Learns Things?
Yeah.
Before we go, we've got about 30 seconds here before we have to wrap for sponsorships. Is there anything you want to brag about or shout out, or just a tidbit you want to share to the marketing community?
Oh, geez. I wasn't ready for this question. Okay. Yeah, just you got to get in the data, even if you're a more creative person and it's not as fun. You just have to learn to be comfortable with data. And then on the creative aspect, don't be afraid to think out the box and try new things. Sometimes they'll fail, but you just have to do that.
I don't think anyone can win without failing first. That's my
Right.
personal belief. But Jaden, thank you again for being on the show. I really appreciate it. This episode of Drysen Learns Things is brought to you by the Discovery Workshop from Made by Things. Check that out at madebythings.com/discovery. And again, thank you again for listening to the show.
Thanks, Drysen.
Drysen Learns Things is brought to you by the Discovery Workshop from Made by Things. If you are looking for a content partner to help you brainstorm, set goals, and create content that truly resonates with your audience, check us out at madebythings.com/discovery.